Okay, good evening, and thank you for coming along to this workshop on effectively setting and sticking to your resolutions in 2023. I hope you have had an awesome New Year's Day, those of you that are joining me live, and if you are watching the replay, same. I hope you had an awesome New Year and an awesome festive weekend. So let's jump right in because we do have quite a bit to cover. So, our outline today, we are going to have a quick introduction. We're going to look at why we need to set goals, what are worthy goals, how we set a goal, the 5-step process, and Q&A. And then also, how do we stick to our goal, which is kind of the most important part of this whole workshop. It's the tips and tricks to help you to actually stick to and achieve the goal that you want to achieve this year. Q&A, like I said, I'm then going to introduce you to the 15-day challenge and then some next steps. If you do have any questions at any point, please just use the raise hand or drop it into the chat. I do have the chat window open, so I'll be able to see anything that comes through. So you will need, as I sent out in the email, something to make notes with, be it paper or electronic, an open mind, which is absolutely key, good imagination for things that you want to be achieving, curiosity to see how this could work and how it could help you, and also honesty, more with yourself, so that you honestly think about what it is that you want to be achieving in 2023. So, quick introduction. You are here, you are watching this, you are here with me live because you are possibly someone who sets resolutions, but then either falls behind or gives up, usually through no fault of your own. We all make up excuses, life gets in the way, or you struggle to maintain habits that you have set yourself. So you set yourself this new habit. It could be a resolution, it could be just a habit at any time of the year. And after a few days, you're not doing it anymore. Entirely normal, entirely not 100% your fault. We do have internal things that like to sabotage when we like to make changes, and we'll go into that during this session. You could set some resolutions each year only to have them sidetracked by somebody else, an influential figure in your life, a family member, a friend, someone at work, a boss, children. As I said, life does get in the way sometimes. Or you're someone who set a load of goals, made a few changes, was doing really, really well. But when you look back on where you are now compared to where you were this time last year, you haven't got as far as you want to get. You're feeling a bit deflated, don't really want to set any more goals because we don't like being disappointed. But that is the content for this workshop. I'm going to show you some ways where you can be 100% more effective at setting and keeping your goals. So introduction wise, my name is Jay. I live in the south of the UK in Devon. I am a qualified teacher. I live with my husband and my daughter. And I got into personal development stuff and specifically this kind of content in June 21 after a particularly rough patch within the school that I was working at. My full story is on my website. There will be all the information towards the end of this workshop. So I don't want to go into it too much here. But let's go straight into content, shall we? So why do we need to set goals? Only 3% of the population actually set worthy goals and write them down. 13% make a goal, but don't write it down. That leaves 84% of our population, and these numbers have come from a variety of different studies done across the last 50 to 60 years, but it means that 84% of our population doesn't set a goal. And if you have no goal, you have no direction, you've got no destination, you just wander aimlessly from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, not really knowing where you're going. And that is why, especially in the films and things like that, you see the characters or you hear about the people who go, oh, I wish I would have done this, or I should have done that. They get to their end point and they've got regrets. So I'm hoping that this content and this workshop will help you to be able to create some goals, create some direction, some laser focus for your life so that you get to the end and you don't have the regrets. Okay, so we need to set goals because we are basically a cybernetic organism. In the same way that a torpedo or a rocket, whether it going to the moon or to blow something up, has a destination, has a goal in mind, or it's been set into it, we are the same. Our mind needs to have something to focus on. Otherwise, it just kind of gives up. So we need a direction. We need to have a target to focus on. And the key thing about that being in the same way that torpedoes and rockets, basically, as they are going to their target, they make little corrections, they notice they're going off track and they get back on track. We are exactly the same. When one door closes, another one opens. Very famous saying. You've probably heard it. But it's exactly the same as a rocket. So when one door opens or one door closes, it just means that that route is blocked. Your destination's still the same. You've just got to go around the obstacle. Okay? So we need a direction, a bit like a sat nav, really. I like the sat nav analogy. So you have a sat nav, you know where you want to go. It could be another city in, I don't know, a 5 or 6 hour drive away. Or it could be a holiday destination on the other side of the world that you're driving to. Good drive, but hey. So you set in your destination. You know where you're going. You know the rough route of where you're going to go. So for me, if I was going to say, I don't know, Yorkshire, I know that I would need to head northeast up the country to get to Yorkshire. Each individual step on the road, I don't need to know because my sat nav at each point will tell me at the end of the road, turn left. At the roundabout, go straight over. Do a U-turn, you've gone the wrong way. Our mind is exactly the same. We are a cybernetic organism that has like a built-in sat nav. We consciously give it the target, the destination, and it provides the route. We only have to listen, hence the open-mindedness. We have to be open to hear it. Okay? We need to have something to work towards to give our life a focus and a purpose. This helps us to avoid distractions and it gives us the motivation to keep living. I personally know quite a few older people, one in their 80s to be fair, who do not look their age. So I have a very good friend of mine who's in his 60s. He doesn't look much older than I do. He is just so full of life that you would never be able to tell that he was in his 60s. And equally, my husband has a friend who's the same age as him, so nearly 40, who looks like he should be in a care home. He looks like he's in his 80s, but he spends his whole life just moaning and being miserable and he has no purpose. Oh, this again. Oh, I gotta go to work. He has no goal. He has no purpose. So he has no motivation to keep living. Okay? Having a goal is fundamental for success. And success is different for every single person. So you might define success as how much money's in your bank account. You could define success by how much material stuff you have, how big your house is, how big the swimming pool is in the garden. Or you could define success as your internal level of fulfillment. Every single person is individual. We all register success in a different way. And we cannot judge someone else's success by our own standards because we might fall short or we might be thinking that success means more to us than it does to them. Okay, but to have success, you need to have a goal. And that is when we go into what is a goal. Okay, so a worthy goal is something that's positive. So I'll give you an example. When I first got into personal development, my sole purpose was to stop the job that I was doing at the time. I did not want to be a teacher anymore. And it wasn't anything to do with the kids. It wasn't anything to do with the school in general that I was at. It was due to a couple of the little bits of like red and or black and white tape or red and black tape, whatever the color tape is, that you just couldn't get past. And it's set by the government in the UK. And it was basically, I wanted to do a certain something, and this child I was working with, this group of children I was working with, they needed something before they could reach and activate into the stuff that the government said they had to learn. And there was no way for us to provide those kids with what they needed so that we could get them to where the government wanted them to be. Because you can't teach a child who is not in the right headspace, full stop. I don't know if you've noticed if you've got young people around you, for example, but if they are not in a good place, so something's happened, if they're young children, it could be as simple as someone said they didn't want to play with them, they didn't like them anymore. If it's an older child, it could be to do with relationships, or it could be something going on at home or something like that. If you're not in the right headspace, you ain't going to learn. So there's no point. And the governments are all around the world, and the education systems say that children need to be learning a set curriculum, and they don't really give any thought as to whether those children are able to even access it. So that was one big thing for me. And hang on, I've got a little notification being really stupid. There we go. Turn that off. So yeah, I wanted to get out, and my goal was I want to get out of teaching. And my mentor turned around to me and she said, "That's not a good goal." I was like, "What do you mean? That's what I want. You asked me what I wanted." She's like, "No, that's what you don't want. You don't want to be teaching anymore. You don't want to be earning a low income. You don't want to be driving around in the old crappy car anymore. You don't want to have to ask permission to go on holiday, i.e., through your boss. What you should be focusing your goal on is what you do want." So I wanted a job where I had the freedom to do as I thought best, to be able to take vacation or holidays when I wanted to take them. So I had to flip it around a little bit. So goals have to be positive. They have to be focused on what you want, not what you don't want. And for a lot of us, it's so easy to list all the things we don't want, but we have to focus on what we do want. Because where energy or attention goes, energy flows. So if we're focusing on getting out of somewhere, we're going to stay right there. Okay. Also, a worthy goal has to be personal. It has to be a goal for you and you alone. You can't set a goal to do something for somebody else. You have to do something for you. You can't set a goal of increasing your work efficiency and your productivity in order for the boss to give you a promotion. It doesn't work like that. You have to set the goal of, I want that promotion and I'm going to get it. I'm not going to be given it. I'm not going to wait for someone else to see how much amazing work I'm doing. I'm going to get it myself. Okay? A goal has to be possible. So I don't know if any of you have seen the film Encanto, one of the new Disney ones. It's got a scene where one of the main characters' older sister, she feels highly pressured. So they're a magical family, and each of the family members has a gift. And this sister's gift is that she's really strong. She can lift up churches, she can crush rocks. She's incredibly super strong. And the whole family put lots of pressure on her to carry the load. And the main character manages to get her older sister in a situation where she's actually opening up and saying, "No, there's too much pressure." And she sings a wonderful song, and partway through the song, it's her flying through the air, riding on the back of a donkey with a unicorn horn, so a donkey corn. That's not physically possible because donkey corns don't exist. So your goal has to be something that is physically possible. Okay, so if you set a goal of you want to run a marathon, but you can't run more than 5 miles due to a medical condition, for example, or you want to run a marathon next week, but you've never run anything at all in your life ever, it's not possible on the bounds of like physical reality. If you really wanted to run a marathon you've never run before, and the marathon is next year or in 7 to 8 months' time, that's possible. But not if the marathon is next week and you've never run a mile in your life. Okay? So goals have to be possible. They have to be prioritized. So if you want to set a really big goal, you have to be able to prioritize the actions that you are going to need to take to get to that big goal. Okay. So if you are wanting to, I don't know, start a business, say, but you are so overwhelmed at work that you are unable to dedicate the time that will be needed to set up a business. So, for example, when I was a teacher, I would go to work 8 till 5. I would come home, sort the family out, have a shower, have dinner, put the little one to bed. And then I'd go straight back on the computer from about 7 o'clock until 10, doing the planning and the marking and the report writing and all that good stuff. So there wasn't time at that point to set the goal of starting my own business because I physically didn't have the time because I couldn't prioritize the activities that I needed to do. Okay, so a goal needs to be able to be prioritized, to be able to hit the targets, to be able to hit the milestones. A goal has to be specific. You can't say, or it doesn't really work to say, I want to be rich. Somebody in a third world country, rich could be a salary of $200 US dollars a month. To someone in the US or the UK or a first world country, 200 a month is not rich. To us, it could be 100 grand a month. So you have to be very specific. If you want to be earning a certain amount of money, that is your goal. A certain amount of money is your goal. If your goal is to get a new car, what car? What style of car? What make? What color? What wheel trims? What gadgets does it have? Does it have a sunroof? Be very, very, very specific. Okay? Also has to be measurable. So if you are, we'll use the marathon example again. If you are setting the goal of running a marathon in 7 months' time, you will have certain goals and certain smaller targets that you need to hit to know that you're on track to hit the big goal. If it's a financial goal, say you're earning 1,000 a month now and you want to be earning 10,000 a month, that's measurable because you can mark off when you hit your 2,000 a month, when you hit your 5,000 a month, and when you hit your 10,000 a month, goal achieved. It's black and white. There's no gray area. So it has to be measurable. And you've probably noticed S and M are the first 2 letters of the acronym SMART for goal setting. And I'll explain a little bit more on why not all of them are included in this in a moment. Okay, so specific and measurable, relevant. So they have to be relevant to you. So relevant to your purpose, why you're on the planet. If your purpose is to help other people and your goal doesn't align with that, it's going to be very, very difficult to be able to follow through with that goal. If your purpose is to, trying to think of a good purpose as a good example, like a doctor, for example, if you then set a goal of, I don't know, earning 200,000 a month, say, that's not possible on a doctor's wages. And if you're someone who wants to help people and do charity work and things like that, setting a monetary goal isn't really in line with your purpose. I'm sure there's ways that you could flip it so that it could be, but it's not entirely in line. Okay, so the last one from SMART, because I don't do achievable, I'll explain that in a second, is time bound. You have to set a time limit for when your goal will be achieved. Otherwise, it's just it'll happen when it happens. There's no sense of urgency to that. You have to set a time span or a time for that goal to be achieved. Okay? Your goal has to keep you accountable. So it has to be measurable, like I said, so that you can hold yourself to account. If I don't do this action today, I'm not going to hit my goal that I've set for the end of the week. So if you're a salesperson, say, and you've set yourself a goal of 10 sales in a week, if you've made absolutely no effort to contact your prospects on today, then you're giving yourself more work to do tomorrow. If you get to the end of the week and you haven't bothered to contact anyone, you're not going to hit your goal in a timely fashion. But if you've got a set goal of, I am going to hit the target by Friday of 10 clients, for example, you track back and say, right, 5 days in a week, therefore I need to get 2 clients a day. How many people do I need to speak to get those 2 clients? You then speak to that many people and you hold yourself to account, because if you don't speak to that many people and you don't get your 2 today, tomorrow is going to be more difficult. And if you do the same again tomorrow, the next day is going to be even more difficult as well. Okay, so you have to set a time bound or a time limit to your goal. It can't just be, oh, well, it'll happen when it happens. There's no sense of urgency there. Okay, your goal also has to be encouraging. Your goal is basically the main thing that provides all the motivation you need to actually get your get dones done each day. Okay, but the only prerequisite to setting a goal is that you want it. You want it so much that you would give your current life for it. Otherwise, what's the point in setting a goal that big? If you won't give up, or you're not willing to give up the life that you have now for the thing that you want, there's no point in setting it as a goal. Okay? It could mean that to get to your goal, you have to basically lose everything you've got now. And it's the rags to riches stories that you hear quite a few people saying about. They sold their car, their last tiny little thing. They lost their house. They lived on the street for a week because they were so desperate to get that goal. But sometimes to get the goal, you have to lose everything you have now. But know that everything that you have now, you've got it once, you know how to get it, you can get it again. Okay? Now, I was going to mention why I do not include the A of SMART. So SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic or relevant, and time-bound. So specific, I agree with, because you need to be clear on what you want. You have to give out the clear message. Measurable, because otherwise, how do you know you're making progress towards your goal? Relevant, not realistic. Relevant to who you are and what you want to be doing, and time bound, so you've got the sense of urgency. Realistic and achievable are 2 words that my mentor, or my mentor's mentor, Bob Proctor, said don't really exist. It doesn't matter if it's achievable, because it's only achievable or not achievable based on where you are now. So it could be that you have a goal of earning 100 grand a month, but at the moment you're unemployed. Or you're in a job where you only earn £1,000 a month or $1,000 a month. That's not achievable. It's not realistic to suddenly go, I'm going to earn 100 grand a month. You tell anybody in your family or friends or anybody that you earn 1,000 now and you want to be earning 100 grand by the end of the year, they'll laugh at you because it's an inbuilt thing. Well, that's not achievable. How are you going to do that? It doesn't matter. Okay, so it doesn't have to be achievable right now, because if you want it badly enough and you can see yourself in your mind doing it, you want it, anything you can see yourself doing in your mind, you can do in the real world. If you can't see yourself doing it in your imagination, then you can't do it in the real world. You are unable to dream and imagine yourself doing things that are physically impossible for you. The universe isn't that cruel, thankfully. Okay? Right, the next thing I want to do is just play a quick 2 to 3 minute video of Bob Proctor here speaking about the ABCs of goal setting. Okay, so he is so amazing at actually explaining it. I figured I would let him do it and then we will discuss it further after the video. So can you please let me know if the sound comes through by just dropping a yes or a no in the chat. No, it's not coming through. Okay. I did have it reported from a couple of the people on the with me live that it was slightly jumpy, so it should run a little bit smoother in the recording, and I will also make sure that I attach it to every single one of you as a separate file when I send out the recording as well. Okay, so but what Bob was basically talking about was the ABCs of goal setting. So an A-type goal is something that you've done before, that you know how to do, that isn't going to take too much stretching for you to be able to achieve it. So it could be that you want to buy a brand new car, but you bought a brand new car 4 years ago. So you already know it's possible. You already know how to do it. Money might be tight at the moment, but it's a goal that you've done before so that you will be able to do it again. Okay. A B-type goal is a goal that you think you can do, but it usually depends on something else happening. So I will make that round the world trip when I have enough money. You want the round the world trip, but you're pinning it on having enough money in the first place. You don't make the committed decision, the goal doesn't happen, it falls flat. So what Bob's always said is that you need to set a C-type goal. And a C-type goal is one where you have absolutely no idea how you're going to do it, but you know that you are willing and you are able. The goal absolutely terrifies you, which is your paradigm, which I'll go into shortly, but equally excites the heck out of you because it's what you really, really want. And to achieve that kind of goal, to set that kind of goal in the first place, you have to quieten down your inner voice that tells you all the ways that you can't do it or how are we going to do that? Not relevant. Focus on what you want. Want is the only prerequisite to achieving your goal. Okay? So, how do we set goals? There are 5 steps to this. Okay. And what I want you to do is to experiment with me this evening with your pen and your paper and write down the one thing that comes into your mind first when I ask you, what is it that you really, really want? So those of you on live with me, either come off mute and give me a shout out of what your goal would be. What's the one thing that comes into your mind when I say, what is it that you really want? Or drop it in the chat. Okay, it will all be anonymous if it puts in the chat. I won't mention anybody's names. Okay, so write down the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you, what do you want? Go. Don't think about it too long. Literally the very, very first thing that comes into your mind. For me, it's my lake house. And I will share a photo that I have drawn shortly when we're going through it. But basically, it is my dream house. It's the house that I want more than anything in the world. No idea where it is. I have a rough idea of where it is, but I'm still building that. But I've got no idea how I'm going to do it. I know that it's going to require a much bigger income than I have now. And it's going to require building. And it's going to need XYZ, but it doesn't matter. Okay. One that has been put into the chat says a flexible job that I can do anywhere, which earns me a decent amount of money. Great. That is an absolutely brilliant thing to want. Okay. Because it gives you the time and the financial freedom. So we are back. Sorry about that. 10-minute blip while I sorted out my internet for some reason. First time in a very long time, it just went. So without checking the recording length of the previous session, because obviously I've had to come out and go back in, what I'll do is I'll start back at the beginning of how do we set goals. So it's a 5-step process, and it is basically where you make a list of everything that you really, really want. It doesn't have to be realistic, it doesn't have to be achievable, you don't have to have any idea of how you're going to get it. But when you are thinking about what you want, consider your core values. What makes you you? Okay, what are your values? What are your morals? Consider your purpose, the reason why you're here. If you don't know your purpose just yet, that's okay. But you do need to work out what it is to be able to then align your goal with it. Because the more your goal aligns, the more likely you are to achieve your goal. Okay. You also need to consider if it's a huge goal, can it be broken down into smaller steps? Because that will prevent overwhelm. So, for example, if you're going for 100 grand a month, you're specifically going after £100,000 per month income. Your goals, your little targets, while you're getting to that big goal, could be £1,000 a month, or 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, and then your 100,000. Okay, so break it down, bite-sized chunks. Okay, you need to consider your family, your dependents. If you have people who depend on you, you can't just sell everything and go and live in your car in the woods. Okay? Oh, let's get rid of that notification. Get off my screen. Okay, you need to consider the responsibilities that you have. And I know that kind of goes against the realistic and the achievable, but you can only control what you can control for you. If somebody else is completely dependent on you, you kind of have a little bit of an obligation to them. It could be that you could, if it's not like your own children, for example, if it's part of your job, maybe, then you can maneuver things around so that their needs are still met while you chase your goal. So I'm catching up on the sewing bee at the moment. I know it was recorded towards the end of June, July, when teachers were still at school. And one of the contestants on the show was a teacher. So her goal was to go on the sewing bee, but she had to make sure that what her responsibilities were, her class, her children that she teaches at her school, that they were covered so that she could go and do her dream. Make sense? Okay. You also need to have an idea of the bigger picture. So it could be that you've got this bigger picture image and your goal is just one piece of the puzzle to getting to that. So you still need to keep the bigger picture in mind as you set your smaller goals to make sure that they are in line and they're actually heading towards your big goal. Okay. You need to spend the majority of your goal setting time on this step. You need to be really, really clear on what it is that you want. Okay. So before I got cut off, I introduced you to an activity, which I know we did get through because I had a response in the chat, or a couple of responses. What is it that you really, really want? So when I ask you, what is it that you really, really want? Write down the first thing that comes into your mind. Okay. And one of our participants this evening turned around and said a job where they don't have to be in a specific location, that they can earn the financial amounts that they want without being kind of tied down. Okay. When I think of what I want, this is what comes up for me. And I'll just check that it is actually showing it on the screen. There we go. Okay. This is my lake house. And I have drawn and painted this. I will not profess to being the best artist on the planet, but I am more than happy with how it came out. Okay, it's on the side of a lake. It's at the bottom of a mountain. It consists of a little wellness retreat. So it's a business within a home. So we kind of live up in the top half. And then we've got some little wellness chalets down the bottom where people can come and stay. And I will do mindset talks. I will also have a resident masseuse therapist. They will run their own business from the ground floor. There's also a gym, spa, sauna, that sort of thing, our own little swimming pool, PV on the roof, solar panels, wood burner. It's going to be a completely eco-friendly house built of eco materials, access to the water, and it's everything that I want. Because what that picture and what that lake house stands for is time and financial freedom. If I am there, then I've got everything that I want. I've got the time to go and do what I want to do. I know up in the eaves, up in one of these little rooms up here, is my craft room, sewing, crochet, all that sort of stuff. Okay, this is what I want when I think of the question, what is it I really want? All right, so as an exercise this evening, we're going to focus on just this one thing. And obviously, when you're doing it for real, maybe later on after this session, or after you've watched the recording, or tomorrow morning, or whenever it is that you do it, make a list of everything you really want, and do not pay any attention to that little voice that comes up and say, well, how are you going to do that? We can't do that. Not relevant. If you want it and you can see yourself with it, then you can get it. Okay, so that's step one. Step two, you need to prioritize your list. Now that's easy today because we've only got one thing on it. So that's the priority. And usually the first thing that you come up with will be the thing that you want the most, because it's the first thing that comes to mind. Not always, but it could be. Okay, so you need to prioritize your list of the things that you want. All right, and then you rank them and you choose the top one. That is your goal. All the others are written down, they're not going anywhere. And a lot of them will probably be achieved when you hit that first big goal. All right, so spend the time prioritizing, but spend more time actually writing what it is that you want. Okay, step three, you need to really consider why you want the things on that list. What is it going to do for you? What is it going to change in your life that you really want to change? Okay, so spend a couple of minutes now thinking about why you wrote down that thing in step one. So why did you write down that you want a job where you're financially independent, where you've got the time freedom? Why do you want to be earning 10 grand a month? Why do I want the lake house? Okay, what will getting that goal do for you? You have to be very, very clear. Now, we don't have long in the session tonight, but spend the time when you do your list and you do prioritize, you do choose that one thing that you're going after. Why do you want it? That's your motivation. That's your reason for trying to get that thing. Okay, so for me, the lake house is my big goal. It's my big vision. So at the moment, I'm working on income goals. So my average at the moment is a little bit lower than I want it to be. And so my goal that I have is to be earning 10 grand a month consistently. Okay. Now, I know roughly how to do it. I couldn't tell you exactly how I'm going to do it, but I have some ideas. And the more I think about it, the more ideas I get, because that's how it works. I'm focusing on what I want, not on what I don't want, and I'm getting ideas for it. Now, why do I want that 10 grand? Because it will give me the stepping stone to then be earning 100 grand a month, which will give me the stepping stone to earning the amount that I need to earn for the lake house, which by that point, I'll know how much I need, because it's a cyclical process, cyclical, however you say that word. It goes in a loop. Okay, one thing is connected to the next. It's like levels of vibration. Okay, so think of the lines on a page of paper, like lined paper. Every single line represents a frequency, and we are on a certain frequency. But every single frequency is attached to the one above and the one below. So to get up to this frequency, you need to pass through these ones first. Can't just jump. Got to go through the frequencies first. And as Steve Jobs said, you can't join the dots going forward. You can only join the dots looking back. So take each step at a time. All right? So, have you got your why? Couple of people saying yes. Okay, right. Step 4, you take that goal that you've written and you put it on a goal card. And you use this sentence starter, I am so happy and grateful now that. And what you do is you write it on a goal card. So if I grab mine out of here, so my business cards, for example, have space on the back to write a goal card. All right. Now, mine was written on an old business card, and I need to update the date. But this is my goal card, and it stays in my phone. It's in the, I have a phone case, and it sits in the thing. I'd show you the phone case, but it's currently plugged in because my phone is providing the internet for me to do this call. Technology, hey? But yeah, my phone has a phone case, and my goal card is in my phone case. And all I have to do now, because I've read it so often, is I only have to touch my phone case and my goal pops into the screen of my mind. Okay, so I do have some template goal cards. I can send them out to you. Just drop me a message after this call or after the once you've received the recording, and I will happily send you out some templates for goal cards. Or you literally just use like a business card size piece of paper, write your goal on it, write the date when it will be achieved by, laminate it, keep it in your pocket, look at it as often as possible. And that's step 5. Read your goal card as often as possible. When you read it, focus on the you that you will be when you've got it. So send your imagination into the future and see yourself as already having achieved it. Do that as often, every single day as you can. I do it first thing in the morning and last thing at night as a habit. So I drift off to sleep, walking down the jetty to paddle my feet in the lake. It's gorgeous, love it. And then as often during the day as I can get away with. So when I'm eating, or if I'm stuck in traffic, or it's between classes, if I'm doing a little bit of substitute teaching, which I still enjoy doing, because I love working with kids, I just drift off every now and then and I go and visit my lake house. And I see myself there. I see myself doing yoga on the deck. I see myself welcoming the wellness center clients. I love it. It's brilliant. And it's what makes the goal seem more real. Okay, so that's the 5-step process on how to set your goals. Now we're going to get really into the meat of how do we actually stick to our goal. Okay, so there are 3 key things that help us to stick to a goal: our habits, our motivation, and our mindset. All right, so I'm going to cover each one of these in order after I've had a quick drink. So if any of you have seen any of my previous videos, or you have watched any of Bob Proctor's Proctor Gallagher stuff, you will have seen this awesome little picture before. This is the stick person. It was drawn by Dr. Thurman Fleet in 1934 as a way of getting the healing arts to be able to visualize a whole human. Because he noticed that the doctors and the health and the healers and everything else were healing the physical symptoms, but actually a lot of the problems we have in our bodies are formed in our minds, not our brain. Our mind is not our brain. Our brain is just the electrical switching station that controls this. Okay, but outside of the brain is the mind, which is like the thinking stuff. All right, so the mind says move your arm. It sends a signal to the brain sends a signal to the arm, your arm goes up. Okay, it's all controlled by the supercomputer, the cybernetic organism that is your mind. And mind, as shown in the diagram, is split into 2 halves. We have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is our thinking mind. It's where all of our 5 senses go into. So we hear, see, smell, taste, touch. All of that input goes into our conscious mind, and we then have the ability to either accept it and let it in and let it affect us, or to go, no, I don't like that. So for me, I haven't watched the news in over a year. because I noticed that everything on the news would trigger me. And a lot of the time, they only ever report the negative stuff. So we're kept in kind of a low negative state with all the crap that's going on around the world. And yes, there is some bad stuff going on around the world, and I am aware of it, but I don't let it affect me because I can't control it. It has no direct impact on me. And I know that probably comes across a little bit selfish. And I do feel for all the people around the world that are going through a rough patch at the moment. But there's nothing I can do about it unless I choose to, of course. And there are many, many people around the world who have chosen to go and get involved. Me personally, I have a young family. It's not really an option for me to drop everything and go and help. But any opportunity I do have to help, I will. But that's my choice. Okay, so your conscious mind is your thinking mind. It has all of your inputs. It also has your 6 higher faculties. It has your reasoning ability, so how you think, this and that, and comparative. It has your memory, your willpower, your intuition, your imagination, and your perception. Perception is how you see the world. Okay, intuition is that little voice inside where you can pick up on other people's energies and things like that. Okay, so you think with the conscious mind. Anything you decide to accept in your conscious mind filters down into your subconscious. The Greeks call the subconscious the heart. Okay, you've heard the saying of heart versus head. So head is thinking, heart is feeling. So what you think creates how you feel. What you're feeling then puts your body in a certain vibration. If you're thinking good thoughts and you're feeling good, then your body's in a good vibration and you're putting out good stuff. Consequently, if you are thinking bad thoughts, if you're letting things interfere with how you're thinking and you're letting things in that you have no control over that are quite negative, you start feeling quite bad. You put your body in a bad vibration, puts your body in dis-ease. Now, I'm not going to go too much further into this because I have done other videos. Again, I will drop the links within the email to explain it further for you if you do want it. But basically, the stick person shows what we think creates how we feel, which creates our actions. All right. And 95% of all of our behaviors, all of our habits are controlled by the subconscious. We have no control over them. We have a little bit if we choose to, but 95% of our behavior is habitual. A fun little game that I like to show people when they're not quite sure what that means is the next time you put your shoes or socks on, notice which foot you put in first. Which foot do you automatically put in your shoe or sock first? Which leg do you put in your trouser? Which leg do you put on your skirt? The next time you put a shoe or sock on, try and put the other foot in. It's going to feel really uncomfortable. But that's your paradigm because your habit is to put that foot in first. For me, it's my left. So I put my left sock on first. So I've been messing around with it and sometimes I put my right foot in and it throws me a little bit. But it's really fun when you notice. Okay, so little things. It could be like the order you get dressed in, the order you make your cup of tea in, the order or the direction, the route that you drive to work. It's all a habit. You're on autopilot. And 95% of our behavior is on autopilot. Okay? So, an absolutely brilliant book to show you how to change habits is this one by James Clear, Atomic Habits. And a lot of my content does come from his books. So he covers such things as an intention habit. So an intention habit is I am going to do this at this time on this day. So if you have set a goal of losing weight, say, you set your intention habit of I am going to exercise for 20 minutes at 6 o'clock in the morning in the lounge. That's your intention. You've already made the decision. So the decision has already been made and it's really, really easy. You just follow it. Okay. He also covers doing an implementation habit. So you kind of bundle it in with another habit you already do. So after I brush my teeth, I will do 10 push-ups. Or when I walk through a doorway, I will do 10 squats. So you link it together, okay? You also got temptation habits. And a temptation habit is where you link something that you need to do with something that you want to do. So I will only watch Netflix when I have answered these emails, or I will only watch Netflix once I have exercised or done a fitness routine or been for a walk. Okay, you don't get your reward until you've done the thing that you need to do. And that's a really big thing to changing habits. And I will cover these in more detail over the first 3 or 4 days of our 15-day challenge. Okay, because I do not want to take up too much time on the initial workshop. All right, so that's Atomic Habits. I also have put a journal together. You can have a free copy of this. It is on my website, or again, you can contact me and I will happily send it over. I also have printed copies available, of which there is an example here. Okay, so it's an A4 or A5, and I call it the planituding approach. Again, all the information for this is on my website. I will drop the links into the email when I send out the recording for this one, okay? If you were not officially registered for the Zoom call, because this recording will be going on to YouTube as well, drop me a message on any of my social medias and I will happily send you the electronic copy, or visit my website and you can get the paper copies sent directly to you. So planituding is a combination of planning, gratitude, and intentions. It gives you space each day to say what you're grateful for, what you already have, what you're grateful for, what you're going to have, because that's kind of fun to do as well, and it's really, really helpful. Gives you space to plan out what you're going to do each day. And I use a get done approach. Again, this is detailed across my social media, but basically a get done list is you write down what you're going to get done, you prioritize it, you start with number 1 and you ignore the rest. So get done, number 1, moves over to a different column called doing, and you focus only on that until it's done. When it's done, it moves to the got done. It's been done, so it's got done. That got done list then creates a really, really cool instant gratification list, I call it. So you can instantly see how much you've done, how well you've done. And it really, really helps with motivation and encouragement. Okay? So that's all included in the planituding journal. And then the intention bit is I intend to be present today. Or I intend to be focused. I intend to only work on one thing at a time. Okay? So it gives you your intention for the day. And if you preset these, a bit like the intention and implementation habits that are spoken about in Atomic Habits, the decision's already made. So when it comes to do, half the work's already done. Okay? So that's habits. And habits are really, really key to sticking to your goal. Because who you are now, and don't take offense at this, but who you are now is unable to reach your goal. Because your paradigm is who you are now. You need to be somebody else to reach that goal. If you could do it like this, you would have done it. But you need to change your paradigms. And your paradigm only changes by changing the habit. You can't just tell the paradigm to do one. You have to replace it with another one. Same as when you try to stop smoking, for example. You can't just stop, because your paradigm will replace that habit with another bad habit. How many people do you know that have stopped smoking and then start chewing on their pen, or feasting on Skittles, or choosing something else to replace that habit because it's like, I need it, yeah? Okay, so you have to update your paradigm, and you do that by changing your habits consciously. Try it with putting your shoes on a different way around. So putting the right foot in instead of the left foot first. You'll see how uncomfortable it is to make a change, because the paradigm's like, whoa, we don't do it like that. We do the left foot first. What are you doing? That's not safe. That's not known. I don't understand. No, but I want to do it this way. So you're having a not a fight, more of like a competition between your conscious and your subconscious. The more you do it, the more likely you will be to succeed it. All right. And one other thing that is mentioned in Atomic Habits is to do what he calls tracking, so habit tracking. And it can be as simple as putting it in a diary page. So this is last year's diary, so it's a bit messy. But you see all the little crosses here? They're all the days that I completed the habit. And if it wasn't so messy, you'd be able to see that in January, February, March, I wasn't that great at keeping to my habit. There was a few days that I skipped. But by April and May, it was every single day because I'd made it a habit. And the habit was getting up when I woke up rather than rolling over and going back to sleep. Okay, so that is habits. The next thing is motivation. Now, everybody is individual, so everybody will be motivated by something else or by something that will motivate me isn't going to motivate you. Okay. We have a dry throat today. So one big thing that does help is to do a vision board or a goal board or something like that, where you basically put in image form the things that you want, the things that will make up your goal, the things that you're aiming for. And humans are visual thinkers. We like to work in pictures, hence using your imagination to put yourself where you want to be, or using the little stick person graphic to show how the mind works. We work in pictures better than we do in anything else. So putting down everything that you want on a vision board and having it somewhere obvious. Ours is in our hallway at the bottom of our stairs. So whenever you come down the stairs, it's the first thing you see. It helps you to keep your goals in mind at all times. You go, oh, I don't really want to do that activity I need to do today. Go and look at your goal board, look at all the things that you want, and all of a sudden you'll find the motivation. Another way to find motivation is to write it down. Okay, you've seen the picture of my lake house. That is what I want. So that picture is stuck up at the end of my bed. I also have it as the screensaver on my phone. So whenever I open my phone, there it is. All right. So having something visually there or even written down, like if you're good at writing rather than drawing, maybe writing it down and reading it often or seeing a picture of it often gives you the motivation. It's what you want to get done. It's what you want to do. It's what you really want more than anything else. So when you're struggling with motivation, take a step back, take a breath, refocus on the reason why you need to do that thing that you don't want to do, and then go and do it. If your motivation is lacking, maybe your goal isn't big enough. So for me, I've never been a morning person, and I now get up every single morning between 5:20 and 5:45, because that's my most effective time of the day at the moment, because it's quiet in the house. I do a quick yoga session and then I get on with some deep work before the rest of the family get up. And every single morning, the first thing I think, thanks to my paradigm, is, oh, I'll just have 5 more minutes. And then my conscious side goes, no. You want the lake house. You want to earn your 10 grand a month. Get your butt out of bed and let's go. And before you know it, I'm on the mat doing yoga, feeling great, having my cup of hot water, getting on with my work. But every single day, the paradigm still says, oh, just 5 more minutes sleep. No. If you want something enough, it will get you out of bed in the morning. It will get you to do that last push-up. It will get you to not eat that last chocolate biscuit or the first chocolate biscuit. Okay? Motivation needs to come from inside you. It can't come from anywhere else or anything else. You can obviously put little bribes and rewards in. So if you hit a certain number of sales in that week or a certain number of contacts, you give yourself a reward that you've already decided on, but you have to be disciplined. You can't have that reward until you have done the work. Okay? Like, it works the same with children. We bribe them. Adults are exactly the same. Excuse me, I think I'm going to sneeze. Okay, and the last little step to sticking to our goal is our mindset. So I don't know if you've heard of a fixed and a growth mindset. The theory's put across by Carol Dweck. So a fixed mindset, they will not accept a challenge. They will not look to do anything that might make them fail. They want to look smart to other people. They don't want to take a risk. So they avoid challenges. They give up easily. Don't even try. Persistence, none of it. Effort is just pointless, so they don't do it. They ignore any useful feedback. It can be constructive criticism, but they will not accept it. And they are threatened. They feel miserable when other people succeed. I know I used to be like that. I switched it around very quickly recently because I realized. And now I more have a growth mindset. I embrace my challenges. When something smacks me in the face and I have no idea what I'm doing, I don't know how to solve it, I go and do some research. I find out how to do it and I get it done. And that sense of achievement that you get from overcoming those individual challenges, there's your motivation right there. So you've got to have a growth mindset or an abundance mindset, which I'll cover in a sec. But a growth mindset is you keep persisting despite obstacles. I know when I'm sewing, I'll hit a snag and I just don't know what I'm doing. So I find that walking away, taking a break, 5 minutes, coming back. Oh, why couldn't I do that before? But you got to step away first. Step away to come back. Slow down to speed up. Okay? Effort is a path to mastery. Can't have anything unless you're actually trying to get it. You learn from criticism. So people can constructively criticize me all day long. I welcome it. So if you've got some points you want to make about this webinar, about this workshop, send them my way. I want to know. I want to know how I can do this better. I won't take, oh, it was rubbish. Okay, cool. You thought it was rubbish? Great. Why? I need to know why so that I can change and I can update the way I'm doing things and I can adjust how I'm doing things to better suit my audience. Okay. And people with growth mindset get inspired by other people. So they're inspired when somebody else succeeds. So yes, somebody else might be able to do something that I can't do, but that inspires me because I know it's doable then. Somebody else has done it, so therefore I can do it. Other types of mindset are you've got an abundance mindset. So we have the ability to think. No other creature on the planet does that. We are the only ones that think. So we can choose whether we have a mindset based in poverty, think about all the things we haven't got, all the reasons why we can't have the things we want, or you can think in an abundance mindset. Everything that everybody wants is already here. There's enough to go around. There's no competition. Everything you want is already here. You just have to go and get it. That's an abundance mindset. There's no competition. There's no, well, he's got that amount and I need that, so I need to take it from him. No. The only person you're in competition with is you from yesterday. You from yesterday is not as good as you are today. That's your only competition, to be better than you. No one else. Okay? You can also have a creative mindset. So a creative mindset, you see an issue and you look at it from different points of view, or you have a big goal that you want to get to and you've no idea how to do it. Let the creative juices flow. Like that picture of the lake house, I've always been a copy artist. So I can copy somebody else's work almost identically, but I always struggled with creating my own stuff from my own mind. But I did it. And that's the first picture I've ever really drawn that I'm happy with, that looks like how I see it in my head. So just let the creative juices go. Sit, think quietly, imagine where you want to be, imagine a solution, imagine ideas of how to get there, and you will get there. Okay? And then the last one I want to cover is a problem-solving mindset. Similar to creative, you see a problem, write it down, put it on a bit of paper, put it in the middle of a table, and then walk around it and see it from different points of view. Have a problem-solving mindset. So instead of focusing on the problem, focus on the possible solutions. Okay? So writing it down gets it out of you and onto a piece of paper. It's not inside you anymore. It's here. It's on the bit of paper. So you see that, and then you focus on how you could solve it. See it from other people's point of view. Imagine you are your idol and you're looking at that problem on that bit of paper. How would they solve it? Only focus on how you can solve a problem and ideas of how you can rather than, oh, that won't work because. No, get rid of that idea. Focus on the solutions. Be creative and remember that everything that everybody needs or wants is already here. We just have to know how to go and get it. All right? So, Q&A time. Unfortunately, because I had my little internet blip that lasted 10 minutes, a few of the people who were on here with me have unfortunately had to drop off, and that's absolutely fine. So we don't have many people on that can give us some Q&A, but if you are watching this recording or you rewatch it again at a later date or something like that, and you have a question, get in touch with through any of the modes on here. I will say now that I am thinking about closing my Twitter account because I am looking at how much I'm doing and the people I'm speaking to, and I'm not really getting much engagement through Twitter. So I'd rather spend the time that I spend there on another platform instead. But any of the other ones, please feel free to get in touch. All right. Respond to this video, send me an email. Most of you have my email now. If you do have any questions, stick them straight over. I will happily send a written response. Or if you want to jump on a one-to-one call with me to discuss it further, discuss your individual circumstances, there'll be no judgment here, then please just get in touch. I will happily jump on a call with you. All right. Nothing's come through on the chat, so let's move into an overview of what is going to happen for the next 15 days. So I am going to run this from the Facebook group. It's called Mindset, Habits, Motivation. I will put the link into the email that I send out following this recording or this live as well. It's also going to run through my profiles. So my daily content that I put out every single day will be focused around the 15-day goal setting challenge. Every single day will start with that creative and then the day. None of them will have sound. There will also be a quote, and I will do a quick reel and a live video each day discussing different topics. All right. If you are coming through this 15-day goal setting with me and you want a specific topic covered, please let me know. It will either let you know if it is coming up or see if I can fit it in. But it will cover daily motivation, which will be in the form of encouraging you on the evening sessions, evening for me. So my 8 o'clock videos that I will do each day for the next 15 days, I will encourage you to write in the comments what you want to get done the next day. So your get done list that I covered in the planetuding section. So you are writing a list of the things you want to get done. You focus on one at a time, and then you move on to the next one. I want at least 3 get dones in response to each of my posts in the evening every day. We as a community, the people already in the group and the new people that will join following this session, this workshop, will support each other. Ask each other questions. Hey, so-and-so. Hey, Bob, Charlie, whoever. Have you done that thing you said you were going to do? Oh, well, no, I haven't. You then feel bad because you're being accountable to somebody else and you haven't done it. So even just putting what you're going to get done tomorrow in a chat box will hold you to more account to actually get it done. And if those things are aligned with actually sticking to your goal will be achieved in no time and you will stick to your new habits. Okay. I will also put in daily hints and tips, like I've said, the accountability we've just spoken about. And the more you put in, the more you will get back. So the more you engage, the more you will get back from it. Okay. The more you are engaged in a community who is trying to help you reach your goals and be the best that you can be, the quicker you will actually succeed. Okay. So we're going to be accountable to each other. We're going to support and help each other. It's not just going to come from me. It's going to come from everyone. If you do want to be held personally to account, please arrange a call with me. I will happily help you. Okay? We're going to be our own personal cheer squad. We're going to celebrate each other's wins. And if there's a day where you don't get everything done, we'll pick you back up again. don't worry. Goal setting, habit changing is a process. It doesn't happen just like that. You have to make changes, and the changes are hard because of the paradigm. All right? So, next steps. You need to spend the time writing the list of what you want, prioritizing it, working out why you want it, choosing the top thing, and writing it on your goal card. Okay? You need to join the Facebook group. Again, this link will be in the email I will send out following this. And share your goal. Stick it in the chat. I'll create a post entitled, "What's your goal?" and just comment below. Okay? Share the group far and wide. This recording should be able to go into that group, and I'll feature it at the top so that anybody who missed the workshop is able to catch up. Then connect with me on social media. Follow what I'm doing. There could be extra stuff after the 15 days that will really help you throughout the year. As I've said, I'm more than happy to hold you to account, because it helps me hold myself to account as well. So it's a win-win situation for everyone. All right. And if you do want to discuss this further, and you would also like some information about some of the programs that I get this information from, or the programs that I personally am studying, then please get in touch with me on a one-to-one basis on a call. And the details for that are at the bottom of this screen. Calendly will show you my full schedule. Pick a time that is suitable for you. If there aren't any suitable times, then drop me a message and let's see what we can work out. All right. But my main contact things are on this page. So Facebook, Instagram, my email, Calendly, if you want to drop in for a face-to-face call. It'll be half an hour. I'm not going to try and sell you anything. It's a discovery call. I just want to help you get started on your goal setting adventure. Okay. Or LinkedIn if you prefer. So if there are no final questions, I will leave you this evening my time. And I will get this edited and joined together with the first section and get it up and out to you as soon as possible. It might be tonight if my computer behaves and my internet is back on, because my phone doesn't really like uploading stuff at the moment. It will zoom I have nothing else running on my computer. It's working as well as it can work. Hopefully it has been a good feed come through for you guys watching it. And yeah, I look forward to jumping into the 15-day challenge with you tomorrow. I look even more forward to helping you hold yourselves to account. And if you do want to jump on a call, then please do not hesitate. All of the social media links will be at the bottom of the YouTube video in the description. And will also be in the email that will come out with the recording to you all. So I hope this finds you well. I hope you have enjoyed. Again, if you have any ways for me to improve on the next thing that I do, please let me know. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely rest of 2023 if we don't speak. And if I can help you in any way, please do not hesitate to reach out. My name's Jay. I am at Rethink Your Perspective. Again, thank you very much, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Cheers. Bye.